Hello and welcome to the Amber Stitt Show. I am your host, Amber Stitt, and today we welcome Todd Keene from TASC today to talk with us about some tax saving strategies. So thank you for being here today, Todd.
Great. Thanks for having me, Amber. Look forward to the session.
Yeah. So today, as I was thinking about our episode, I really wanted to dedicate this to the small business owner. So those of you that are self-employed who want to work on focusing on money your way, we focus on getting money smart on the Pathways of Peak Performance podcast. And so today I wanted to focus on tax saving strategies before the year end, but really in the future years too. And so with Todd's help, we'll learn a little bit about how we can do that. So hopefully by the end of this episode, there's an awareness that's being brought to the table about how many or most business owners could save like I did by working with one of these special accounts, also working with a tax advisor and TASC, the Total Administrative Services Corp. And so Todd will talk about that a little bit more today. But I really want to have people learn about how families can, or businesses or families combined, can be reimbursed for some of these medical expenses to provide some tax aid. So Todd, let's do a little background on you, share with the audience a little bit about what you do, and then how one of these accounts can help people.
Sure. Great. Thank you. My name is Todd Keene. Like Amber said, I'm with TASC, Total Administrative Service Corporation. It's a third-party administrator and employee fringe benefits that's been in business for over 40 years. I've been with TASC for 15 years and work with small self-employed business owners like the ones hopefully we have on here today to help them come up with a creative tax saving solution through a IRS Section 105 that's been around since 1954. So this is nothing new or revolutionary here today, folks, but it's just a way for a small self-employed business owner to, really be able to look at options as a way to increase their tax savings through their own family's medical expenses.
Yeah, so I met you a few years back through my tax advisor. I think she had attended one of your seminars. You travel a lot to speak about, not so much numbers, but you're in the accounting community a little bit, right? Is that kind of where you hang out?
Correct. Yeah, I definitely work. We don't really work directly with the clients. We go kind of through their tax advisors because that's their trusted advisor. So I really go and work with a lot of the tax accountants out there and go to their seminars where they get their continuing education at to hopefully educate them on making sure that they're aware of this tax saving solution that's out there and how they can benefit small self-employed business owners or their clients like this that could lead to a tax savings. Our average client saves in excess of $6,000 a year in tax savings. So yeah. There is a great solution for that.
When I would hear that number, I'm like, okay, sure, that doesn't seem accurate, but it's just a set of rules that exist in the code. And so, what's interesting is I had done one of these accounts with you for multiple years, and then last year I didn't think I would qualify because I did have a little bit of W-2 income, but mainly 1099 income. And when I reached back out, you're like, hey, you actually can. So that was really neat to hear that there's multiple ways this can shake out. But let's let you talk about the actual title of this, because I feel like people confuse this with an HSA, FSA, and then they think they can't do one of these because another thing exists and they're depositing into a different account during the year. So let's let you explain it a little bit more in deeper detail.
Sure. An HRA, this is an HRA, a Health Reimbursement Account, which, like I alluded to earlier, is under IRS Section 105. It is a way for a small self-employed business owner to take 100% of their family's medical expenses, which we really go into like two different buckets with. You look at the number one would be like health insurance, all your health insurance, long-term care insurance, any other supplemental insurance, people that are on Medicare, dental or vision insurance. And then the second one would be obviously the out-of-pocket expenses, the out-of-pocket copays, dental and visions. If you look at these, there's probably a lot of things on here you probably had no idea that you could even deduct or run off through the business. And these are all ones, these are not uncommon to any of, like if you have a flexible spending account or an HSA account in the past, they're all the same type of ones that can qualify. Also, in addition to that, if you have a term life policy, you can deduct that health and that premium as well on that. In addition to the over-the-counter items, which is also a big one that's been out there in the last year and a half, that's eligible as well. So, the antihistamines, antacid, cold remedies,
Mm-hmm.
aspirin, things like that are also eligible to be deducted as well.
Yeah, I think we forget about these items, and I've noticed that even Amazon will do something like they'll have a little statement HSA approved. So typically, if it's HSA approved, it might also be on the list for the HRA. They're for the most part pretty common, I think, from what I've noticed.
Yeah, and even the ones that aren't on here that you might be thinking of, if you have a letter of medical necessity or a prescription from your doctor, those are also eligible to be deducted at that point in time. So really, let's get into
Sure.
what is it? What is it? How it can benefit people, and what are the differences? Maybe some of you may be common to an HSA, a health savings account. A health savings account is for somebody that has a high deductible health plan. It affects their individual tax return. You're putting money into an account, and it's only for out-of-pocket medical expenses. Okay, so the HRA is the Health Reimbursement Account is for a business owner. So you may ask, well, who can all qualify for that? Well, it can work for any tax entity. So it doesn't matter if you're a sole proprietor or an LLC or an S corp or a C corp
Okay.
or partnership. They all can qualify for it. So the nice thing too with an HRA is you're not putting any money into an account, so to speak, like you do with an HSA. You actually are just setting up the plan, and you're incurring expense. You pay for the expense. You get reimbursed back from your business for the expense, and you're able to deduct the expense. So the whole key to it is this is an employee medical fringe benefit. So you have to have an employer to employee relationship. And in most cases, a small self-employed business owner, that's one and the same.
Okay.
So you're an employee plus you're the owner of a business. Okay. So at that point in time, you're able to, under the rules of attribution, able to not only take it for yourself as the employee, but also for your entire family, your spouse, your kids. And so that's where the really the tax savings can
That's very
really increase.
powerful. I mean, really.
It is. It is. Like when I started 15 years ago, Amber, I remember doing these type of plans, and the average client was saving $1,800. Now, 15 years later, we're at over $6,000.
Right.
TASC, for a little bit of a background for people, our company that I work for, we've been doing these for over 40 years. We're kind of the ones that got the start in it way back in the day. Our founder had gotten a start in really looking at ways for small self-employed business owners. How can we help them increase their tax savings for their medical expenses? And that little IRS section code, section 105 was out there, and it was a way to help them really help that small business owner be able to take those expenses and create a deduction with them.
Yeah, and what I liked about the process is that on email chains, if there's questions, you're okay to be CC'd on the emails as we talk with our tax advisor. We have a question. How do we populate and enter the data to produce the information necessary for our tax filing? It's pretty easy to do once you know that you are eligible. And then with your team, it's been great to work with you guys on just getting things done on an annual basis. So anything else they should know about, or maybe we could talk about, it's not so much any tax advisor can help their client. The business owner does have to pay a nominal admin fee for this plan, correct?
Yeah, so that's a good point. So what does our company actually do, Amber? And why do people want to use us? So you may ask, why doesn't somebody go to a tax advisor and have them do that? Well, as you're aware of, there's how many different tax codes that are out there. And so what our company does is we do all the compliance and administration on these type of plans. So we do all their plan documents, the summary plan description. We do all their year-end reports, make sure everything's set up legally with the IRS. And one of the things why really a big component of why an accountant would use us, and all the different accounting associations throughout the country really recommend using us, is because we have a 100% audit guarantee, which means that we will stand behind the client in terms of any legal representation that needs to be if they ever get audited and they're challenged on their tax savings that they went through this. So that's huge. Mm-hmm. That's a huge component of it. And that's why people want to use this, because it's like insurance, basically. It's being able to protect that tax savings that they're having on a year-to-year basis, and making sure that they can use that on a year-to-year basis and have the peace of mind that it's being done correctly.
So I would like people to really think about this, and it's getting close to the end of the year, so we don't have much time. So Todd, very simply, it would be a matter of just being introduced to your team to you specifically, having a complimentary consult, just making sure someone's eligible. And then really, as long as they are, they need to set this up before the end of the year to qualify for the 2022 year. Is that how that works?
Yeah, that's a good question. So the nice thing about the HRA plan is you can still retroactivate this plan back to the first of the year.
Okay.
So any of those expenses that you've already incurred about and you're thinking, oh, it's too late to pack this year. No, you can still go back to that beginning of the year. That's why it's our busiest time of the year. But I would really recommend, to ask for a consultation. We can talk about your own specific situations. If we can get your accountant involved if you want to, so I can make sure that they understand how it works. And then also give you an estimated, what your tax savings could represent for having one of these plans set up.
Good, perfect. So I already have it on my link tree, the way to book a consultation with you, Todd, but then I'll also link up more information about TASC itself in the description boxes and show notes on the podcast. That way that they can find you. And then any of the audience members, if you have any questions, certainly reach out to me and I'll point you in the right direction. TASC does more than just the small business account that we're talking about here. They do a lot more, but on the small business side, Todd's the guy that I go to for my HRA. So I just really wanted people to be aware of this. I mean, I don't know how many times I bring this up and people look at me and they either nod their head because they feel silly that they don't know what an HRA is, or they nod their head because they think we're talking about the HSA. So the beauty is you can have multiple buckets to kind of work from as an owner, but also to have some reimbursements or the deductions for tax savings. So anything else, Todd, that you can think of besides just really reaching out and having that consultation? Yeah,
the other thing too is one of the assurances that we provide as well is that if you don't have $2,000 of total medical expenses, we will refund your $595 administrative fee back to you, because we don't want your money unless you're going to save more than what the cost of the plan is.
Okay.
So, and with 15 years of experience, I pretty much can tell you exactly whether you should or should not be involved in something like this. But it's great for people that are looking for to offset all their expenses that they've incurred over the course of the year. And you can't deduct those expenses. You take them into your account, you can't deduct them unless you exceed 7.5% on your adjusted gross income on your personal return. So you may take all those expenses and receipts into your accountant, but unless you exceed that, you won't be able to deduct any of those dollars. So that's why by setting up an HRA through your business, if you're able to do that, this is a good solution to be able to provide as a benefit.
Well, I'm excited to share this with everybody, and I know that I've benefited from it, and we've been thankful that our tax advisor reached out and let us know years ago. So thanks so much for being here, Todd, and the audience will let you know if they have any questions.
Great, Amber. Thanks for having me. Everybody have a great day. Thank you.
Have a great day. Talk with you soon.
Thank you for joining us on today's episode of The Amber Stitch Show. For more information about the podcast, books, articles, and more, please visit me at amberstitch.com. Until next week, enjoy your journey at home and at work. Thank you for listening.